What's happening, people? Hope you're good. We're just setting up Instagram to go live. If you're watching this on the replay, give me a hashtag replay, please. We are live on Instagram, live on Facebook. We'll give it a couple of minutes. We will let some people jump on. What's happening, team? Hope you're good. You're watching this on the replay. Give me a hashtag replay, please. Just to throw in there and let you guys know as well, this t-shirt that I am wearing, the Tap Movement t-shirt, it's got, you can see hashtag Changing Tea with Lives on the back, are now out as of today for you guys to buy. We've got t-shirts, we've got hoodies. If you are interested, drop me a DM and just let me know, say I'm interested in the t-shirts or the hoodies, and I will message you back and let you know how you can purchase one of these lovely t-shirts or hoodies. Hope you're having a good day. Thank you for jumping on. Someone leave me an emoji in the comments. Let me know that you can hear me. You can see me okay, please. And then we're going to get into this one shortly. I have been super excited and a bit fearful of doing this one, but a lot of you guys voted for it on my Instagram story when I put a poll up. And it's something that I have quite a few questions of about. So I thought, let's get fucking serious and let's do an actual podcast episode and a live about it, because it's a serious topic, really, at the end of the day. And it's hard to find information about it as well. So we will give it another couple of minutes and then we will get into it. Hopefully, I'm hoping we can have a few cracks on this and it can be informative as well. Hope we get a couple of laughs from my expense and some of the stories that I'm going to share with you guys, as well as getting some quality information as well. So we've got 5 on Instagram. What's happening, people? Thank you. 1 on Facebook. We've got 1 on YouTube. Guys, actually, no, I'll wait until the podcast is up to share that one. Right. Shall we hit record and shall we get going? 3, 2, 1. What's happening, people? Welcome back to another episode of the Type 1 Movement Podcast with me, your boy, Type 1 Tom. This is an episode that I've wanted to do for a while, and a lot of you guys actually voted. So I put a poll out on my Instagram story saying, hey, because I had a couple of questions about drugs and type 1, about type 1 diabetes. So I put a poll out and I was like, should I do a full podcast episode on it? And you guys were like, yeah, like 30 odd of you commented, voted and said, yeah, we'd love to hear that. We'd love to see that. So we will get into it shortly. It's going to be a serious episode. I'm going to say now, I'm not fucking recommending taking drugs. I will get that straight out there now. Yeah, but we'll get into why I'm doing this episode shortly. Before we get started, team, please leave me a rating and a review on the podcast app, as it really does help me reach more type 1 diabetics, inform you guys, and positively impact our community. Guys, I'm going to throw it out there now on the podcast. I am currently growing my YouTube channel. So head over to YouTube and type in Type 1 Tom. Go and subscribe to my channel. Yeah, I'm eventually going to do like a vlog, a day in the life, probably in a couple of months, which are going to be super informative for you guys. So, guys, I'm going to get straight into it now. And the reason that I've done this, I was like, should I do an episode on drugs and type 1 diabetes? Should I not? And I thought, you know what? I think it's an important topic. It's one of those topics that you can't go and ask a DSN or an endo or a doctor, can you? Excuse me, will you tell me how taking recreational drugs is going to impact my glucose levels and my diabetes? How are you meant to find this information out? How? So I wanted to share with you some of my stories. Hopefully it'll be informative. You're probably going to laugh at a few of them, but it is going to be a serious episode at the end of the day. And as I said at the start, I am not recommending taking drugs. I'm not recommending it. But yes, I have done it in the past, and I'm going to share some stories with you guys. Like I say, I think it's important. It's topics like this, topics on sex, like these topics that a lot of type 1s who don't feel comfortable going asking, like nurses or doctors. Yeah, so hopefully if I can share with you my experiences, you can kind of get something from it. Do you know what I mean? You can kind of get something from it. So let's start with a little story. Now, I'm going to be completely fucking honest and true with you guys, as I always am, on my podcast, on my lives, in my posts. Like, I'm open and honest, yeah? And you know what? If this changes someone's opinion of me, so be it, because I know someone out there is going to get some value from it. I always say to people, if 100 people fucking hate me or change their opinion, but one person I manage to impact them, you know, and it gives them some information, some knowledge in some way, then so fucking be it. Yeah. And this may be possibly one of those episodes. So I'm going to start with a story, guys. So going back a few years ago, I fell into, let's say, not a good weekend routine. Not a good weekend routine. So I just moved out of home. It was the first time that I moved out. And I was going out every weekend, drinking and taking drugs. Yeah, drinking and taking drugs. Now, we'll get into the nitty gritty of actually why I was doing that shortly, but I'm going to tell you a story. So I remember, like, I was going out every weekend, I was taking drugs, and it was on a Saturday that we actually went on an all-day session, yeah? And I remember throughout the day, I must have started in the afternoon and it carried on till basically the fucking next day. Yeah, but this is one situation that sticks with me. That I really do remember. So I was out drinking, taking a load of drugs, and I will get to exactly what I ended up taking shortly. But we was out, and then we ended up going back to an after party. Now, I remember being sat in a bedroom, absolutely just fucking wavy as fuck, mate. Like, high as a motherfucking kite, yeah? I'd taken cocaine, I'd taken ecstasy, and I'd taken ketamine as well. So it was a lot. Like I said, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. There was a lot of stuff that I'd taken as well as fucking alcohol, right? I remember being sat in a room with my mate, yeah, and two girls was in there. And I was like to my mate, these are trying to fucking like rape us here. Yeah. Like these are they're wanting to do something. I think they're going to rob us as well. My head started going big time. And it was at an apartment somewhere. And I actually left there. And you must have been looking at, guys, this is like early hours of the morning. So it must have been about fucking 4 or 5. Not the exact time, yeah. So I left the apartment and my mate come out after me. He was like, Tom, what are you doing? I was like, I need to get away. Like, they're going to keep us in there and they're going to do shit. Like, I was on a proper paranoid episode. Hence why I'm not recommending taking fucking drugs, right? I was on a proper, this is like pretty fucking scary. This is a very scariest sort of experience that I've had. So I leave the apartment and I go onto a main road and I flag a paramedic down, you know, not an ambulance, a paramedic car. I flagged him down and I was like, mate, well, I probably didn't say mate, but I was like, and I still remember this as well, as smashed as I was, as high as a fucking kite as I was, I still remember this. I flagged him down. He pulled over. I said, I think some people are trying to get me. He said, what do you mean? You're all right? And he looked at my eyes and he could tell. He said, have you been taking stuff? I said, yeah. I said, also, I want to tell you I'm a type 1 diabetic. He was like, right. Pulls over, jumps to the back of the car, got a finger prick out, says to my finger, he said, your blood glucose is in range. Can't remember what it was. It wasn't low, it wasn't high. I was like, right. He said, but I can see you're not right. Like, I said, yeah, I know these people are trying to get me. That's why I flagged you down and all this. He was like, right. He said, I can see how you are. Obviously, you're not right. Have you taken anything? And I told him, I was honest, yes, I've taken this, this, and this. He was like, right. So he actually took me, I can't remember, there's one detail, I can't remember whether he took me or he called an ambulance, but he took me to a hospital. Yeah. And when I got in hospital, they put me in a hospital bed. And they obviously took some bloods. They did listen to my heart. And the doctor come round and spoke to me and he was like, okay, he was a youngish doctor. He said, right, so you type 1 diabetic? I said, yeah. He said, well, your glucose levels are all right. I was like, yeah, I keep it well controlled. He said, I had a little bit of a chat with the paramedic, but what's happened? What have you taken? I said, well, I've been out drinking all day. I said, I've taken cocaine, I've taken ecstasy, I've taken ketamine. He said, right. He said, and obviously alcohol as well. He said, I'm going to be honest with you, like your heart rate, you was so close to having a heart attack, right? He said, you were so close to having a heart attack. Had you probably not taken that ketamine, you probably would have. Yeah, and we'll get on to shortly because I'm going to go on some key points about why like drugs and what they do physiologically and that sort of shit. But he said that. He said, if you hadn't done that, you would have probably had a heart attack. He said, your fucking heart rate is sky high, mate. And I was still fucking smashed at this point, still paranoid. Next thing I know, I'm in hospital bed. My mum and dad walk in. Mum's probably listening to this. Now, I will say, I mentioned the first time I moved out of home. This was the first weekend I moved out of home, right? My mum and dad walk in. My mum went, Thomas, what the fuck have you done? You are moving back home. And I said, no, I'm not. And rightly so, right? So obviously I have a dead good relationship with mum and dad. So I was honest with her, with them, what had happened, what had taken. And I was like, right. And so anyway, I stayed in there overnight, obviously sobered up. And then they waited there with me, mum and dad. We got a taxi back to where I was living at the time. Now, I wanted to start with that story because that was a fucking experience, right? It was an experience of the doctor saying to me, mate, like, what have you taken? You could have had a heart attack, your fucking heart rate sky high, yeah. And obviously me pulling the paramedic down, testing my blood glucose, staying in range. And like before that, there was obviously periods of me going out. And there's one thing that I'm going to say, and this probably like goes for predominantly alcohol and stuff like that as well. I never noticed a different impact between me drinking alcohol in terms of my blood glucose, me drinking alcohol, and when I'd taken anything. But there's one thing I do notice when I was just drinking a hell of a lot and taking stuff is that we say with alcohol anyway, was overnight hypos, overnight lows. Obviously, when I was fucking still awake overnight in hospital, but I didn't know it in the times that I used to come in like early hours. It would probably be more like throughout the day because it was a fucking all night going back to after parties and shit. But it's the lows. It's the lows overnight that you've got to be careful with alcohol. And I noticed I had to be careful when I was fucking taking shit as well. Yeah. It's these overnight lows that are probably the scariest, because not to scare anyone, we hear stories about, type 1s, like drinking too much, kind of passing out in the sleep and stuff like that from having low blood glucose. And that's not just like taking drugs, that's like alcohol in a whole and stuff as well. So that's one thing I want to get across from this. Like, it's the overnight lows that I noticed heavily when I was drinking alcohol, and then heavily, especially when I'd taken stuff as well. Like, it was these overnight lows. Yeah. Now, for me, when I'm out, I'm not recommending do this, but when I'm out drinking alcohol, I end up just bolusing every couple of hours. Like I say, I'm not recommending doing this. I'm not recommending taking drugs. I'm not recommending anything here. I'm giving you my fucking stories. Yeah. So I end up bolusing every couple of hours just if I'm drinking beers and stuff like that, because I know it's going to contain carbs. But then I'm always in a way, even when that story I've told you, I was fucking wavy as fuck, high as a kite, smashed off my fucking box, I still managed to keep an eye on my glucose levels because it's that habitual and that important to me. I'm pulling that paramedic down saying I'm type 1 and testing me. Like, I'm still compass mentis with my diabetes management. Do not ask me how when I'm in that state. Maybe it's because it's that ingrained over the years and it's that important to me and it's that habitual. But I've always been compass mentis with my blood glucose levels. And like I say, like, I've not noticed, it's still like the lows I've got to be careful overnight, but even more so when I was taking shit and I was coming home and I had to, just keep an eye on it. Like I said, I'm not recommending doing it. It's fucking dangerous. I did a very stupid thing right then, and that story is going to stay with me forever. But like I said at the start of this, I want to be honest with you guys and share my experience. I'd drunk a lot throughout the day and I'd taken a fucking hell of a lot as well, to the verge when I was very close to having a heart attack if I hadn't taken ketamine to chill me out and slow me down a little bit. Now, these are a few key points that I want to get into now. And as I said at the start, I am not fucking recommending taking drugs. Don't you dare go out and get smashed off your tits if you're type 1 listening to this and say, I listened to Tom's podcast. No, I am not fucking recommending it at all. Yeah. But here's a few key points and I think it's important because, look, there's going to be another type 1 diabetic out there that is going to go out and he's going to take something. That's the reality. I'm not recommending it, but that's the reality. That's the reality. That's life. It's going to fucking happen. Yeah. So here's a key point. Yeah. What are you taking? What are you taking? I told you before what I'd taken: cocaine, ecstasy, ketamine. And this moves us on to how does it physiologically impact your body? What does it do to your body? Now, you know what I mentioned? That doctor said, Tom, your fucking heart rate's sky high, mate. We probably didn't say mate because he was professional. He said, Tom, your heart rate's sky high. What have you taken? Now, I'd taken cocaine, which will elevate your heart rate. Yeah. It will fucking speed your heart rate up. Also, ecstasy, which will elevate your heart rate. It will speed your heart rate up. Yeah. Which you guys fucking know. Go and Google what fucking drugs do physiologically to your body. Yeah. If you want to know. And then I've taken ketamine, which is a downer. It slows things down. And this is why the doctor obviously knew this. And he said to me, if it wasn't for taking that ketamine, that you would have had a heart attack, because cocaine, ecstasy, speeding your heart rate up, going 10 to the fucking dozen. I was paranoid as fuck. Probably from that. Well, definitely from all that. And then the ketamine as well, which kind of chilled stuff out. So I probably did myself a service in taking that, else would have had a heart attack. So I'd say, what you take in, how does it physiologically impact your body? What does this drug do to your body? I think it's important that you know that. Yeah. It's important that we all know that and understand that. Yeah. Especially, like I say, I'm not recommending it, but if you have taken or you're going to or anything like that, do a bit of fucking research and find out. The other thing is that I want to say is probably the most important part here, guys. Probably the most important is, who are you with, and do they know about diabetes? Do they know that you're a type 1 diabetic? Take fucking drugs and alcohol out the equation. Your mates and who you're with should know about diabetes and that you're a type 1 diabetic. They should know what to do if you go really high, what to do if you go low and you can't treat yourself. People around you should know that. Even more so when you're out drinking alcohol, or if you're going to take any shit, not recommending it. Your mates, the people that you're out with, need to know about the conditions. Sit them down and fucking chat with them. My mates knew about it. Yeah, because it comes up in conversation. They knew what to do if it was high and what to do if it was low. Luckily, I was always compass mentis, no matter what state I got in. I was managing to sort myself out as much as I thought I was, being hacked by some girls and going on a fucking para. But more to the point, the people around you need to know that you're a type 1 diabetic. You need to tell them what to do. Yeah. If, not recommending it, you're going out, drinking alcohol, you plan on taking something, tell the people who you're around that you're diabetic, what to do if you drop low, what to do if you go high, how to fucking get your phone and scan your arm or read your Dexcom numbers, what the range is that you've got to be in, how to prick your finger if anything is to happen, to ring a fucking ambulance if something is to happen for you. Yeah. That's fucking important. That is, I will get that across, important. Moving on, the next thing. Why do you want to take them? What is the reason that you want to take them? Let's be honest. We live in times now where if we go out, guaranteed someone is taking some sort of drug in the place that we are. It's that popular and that common. No, I'm not saying it's right, but it is. Yeah. But some other type 1s out there are probably going to take stuff as well. And you've got to ask yourself, like, why do you want to take them? Is it just because it's a good time? Or is there something else going on? I will be completely fucking honest with you here now. Completely honest with you. That time period I told you about, when I was going out every weekend taking stuff, it got to a point where I couldn't go out and just drink alcohol. I'd have to go out and take something. It got to a point where I couldn't go out and just drink alcohol and have a good time. It got to a point where I had to go out and take something. And you know what? For me, what I think it was, or what I know it was social anxiety, and stuff wasn't good in my life at the moment. There was a lot of stuff going on. Excuse me, I'm not going to get into the ins and outs, but I wasn't happy in my life fully at the time. And then going out, like having social anxiety and stuff, I felt like taking stuff just got me out of myself a little bit. And that's a bad, because I never spoke to a therapist or a counselor, which I have done. I've probably done podcast episodes on that. But for me, it was that. It's because social anxiety and shit wasn't happy. I wasn't happy in my life at the moment. Now, I do want to say something about certain drugs, guys. And I'll be honest with you here. Whatever you're feeling, whatever you're going through in your life, they're going to exaggerate that out of you. Yeah. So if you're buzzing, it may make you feel more buzzing. If you're low, you're going through a hard time, you're not feeling great, you may get a bit of a kick or a buzz, but it's probably going to cause paranoia like it did with me. It's not going to make you feel good after it, which we'll move on to shortly. So I think a key part, like I said, is why do you want to take them? What's going on? Yeah, because I know for me, it wasn't just like, there probably was a point where I was going out like, yeah, let's have a good time. Yeah, I'll have some of that. Do you know what I mean? When I'm pissed up and alcohol. But when I cover back the layers a little bit, it was more that, hey, I wasn't happy. There's a lot of stuff going on in my life, and social anxiety, and this kind of made me feel like, like accepted, like I was coming out of my shell a little bit, like I wasn't bothered. Do you know what I mean? I seemed more happy, but then it's the after effects of that. Yeah, so I think that's a key point to ask yourself as well. And the other thing, the last point that I want to touch on, which I touched on a little bit there, is the after effects, physically and mentally for it. Yeah. Physically, like I mentioned, for me, it was a lot of lows, a lot of like eating fucking jelly babies, trying to keep my blood glucose levels above board. That's probably because I drunk so much and all the shit that I've taken. And I don't know this properly, but my thought is, if you're taking something that's going to speed shit up, like fucking cocaine or ecstasy, it's getting everything flowing. It's fucking going super fast and stuff. Blood's going super fast. Heart rate's up. If you've got any insulin there, surely it's going to move that through your body quicker. That's my thoughts. It might not be scientific, but that's my thoughts. And that doesn't just, it's not all the shit that you've taken is gone the next day. It's still there. Then with the alcohol that's being processed through your liver, so your liver can't do the job of pushing out glucose, to stop you going low. It's processing all the toxins from the alcohol. That's going to make you more open to a low as well, which is what I noticed. So that's a physical impact of it. The mental impact of it, fucking hell, mate. Like 4 days after, I hated my life. And I told you, it might be what drugs kind of make things come out more, but it might be like you're not happy, go and take something, you get a bit of a buzz on the night, and the day after you're like, fucking hell, mate, I feel like shit. That was me. I was like that. Like mentally, it fucking just absorbed me. It took me for days after, I felt like absolute shit. Like I just couldn't do life. Like I was flat. Like there was no buzz. And you got to remember, like, what goes up must come down, guys. Like what goes up must come down. Like drugs are an upper that are going to make you feel a little bit better and shit like that. But then you're coming down, and I come down massively. It mentally fucking fucked me. And I think we can speak to anyone that has ever taken anything, and they will tell you, like, after it, mentally, it's just a fog. You feel flat. You can't get a buzz. Like, you feel fucking horrible. Yeah. So I think there are a few key points. Like I say on this, I am not recommending taking drugs, but I wanted to do this episode because you guys had asked for it. So I wanted to share my experience. I'll be honest with you, that experience I just told you about being in hospital was an extreme thing. It happened. But yeah, there's been nights when I've been out, and I've drunk alcohol and I've taken stuff, been like, yeah, what a great night. And the day after I feel like shit, then I'm all right again. And when I was going through that time period, the weekend after, I was fucking going out again because I've forgotten about it, feeling like shit. It gets into that vicious cycle. But I wanted to do this episode because you guys have asked. I wanted to be honest. I didn't want to come up here and fill you with shit and say, I've never taken anything or I've taken stuff. And then, no, that was it just once. No, it wasn't like that. I'm being fucking serious with you. And I think it's important because who else can you go to, and where can we find this information out? Where can we? Yeah. Could try and Google it. I don't know what you're going to find, like drugs and type 1 diabetes. I might try that at some point. I've never tried it. Could try it. But I think, like, if you was go to a doctor or a specialist, ask them, see what they say. Do you know what I mean? But his chances are, I can't really speak about that. Do you know what I mean? So I think topics like this are important because, like I say, guaranteed there's another, I was one going out taking stuff, and guaranteed there'll be another type 1 diabetic that has been out and taken drugs, or that is going to go out and take drugs. Like I say, I'm not recommending it, but I think it's important, those key points that I mentioned, and go back over them. What you're taking, how does it impact your body physiologically? Who are you with? Who are you out with? Do they know about diabetes? Do they know what to do in worst case scenario if anything happens to you? Yeah. Why do you want to take them? And the after effects physically and mentally of actually taking stuff as well. Yeah. Guys, like I kept saying in this, I am not recommending taking fucking narcotics. I'm not recommending it at all. I'm just sharing my experiences. I'm being totally honest with you guys because I think it is important. Things like this and topics like this are spoken about, I think. So, guys, that just about finishes it for this episode. I hope you have got value, from it. But I'm going to finish with this. If you're in a situation where you find yourself going out every weekend and like I was, and you're taking drugs and stuff like that, reach out to someone and chat to someone. This sounds bad, I know, but there's numbers you can call if you feel you've got an issue and that. Do that. Yeah. Reach out and fucking chat to someone because it is not a nice place to be in at all. So it's not something that I'd recommend being in, that fucking vicious circle, that vicious cycle. Yeah. So we'll say these. I know it sounds bad saying that, but there's numbers you can call if you do feel that it's impacting your life in a negative way. Yeah. But hopefully, guys, I'll finish on this. You've hopefully got some value from this episode. It's been a pretty serious episode. When I look back now at that situation, it was scary at the time, but I look back and I laugh a little bit like, dickhead, what was I thinking was going to happen with those girls and people coming to get me and stuff like that and flagging a fucking paramedic down? Do you know what I mean? It's serious, but yeah, I can look back and laugh at myself a little bit for doing it, and it's an experience, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Not the best, but that's what life is, full of fucking different shit and experiences, just all made up and rolled into one. Some are good, some are bad, some are fucking weird like that, but hey ho, it is what it is, isn't it, at the end of the day? But guys, like I said, hopefully you got value from this podcast. If you did, please leave me a rating and a review on the podcast app, as I will be truly grateful for that. And I think that just about sums it up, team. Until the next episode, have a great day. Peace. Oh, don't do drugs. Drugs are bad. Peace. Team, do we have any questions? I'm going to stay on for a couple of minutes. We've still got a few on Instagram, a couple on Facebook. Do we have any questions whilst I am still on? I'm going to have a quick skip through. Stop promoting drugs, Tom. Joke. We're saying if this is you and you don't like talking about diabetes, set your alarms higher. You could do, yeah, if you're having a high or a low, but still, I think it's important, team, that whoever you're going out with, even if you're just going out socializing, you're drinking and stuff like that, tell people, you'll always have that one mate, yeah, that you're pretty close to and you'll chat to anything about. They'll probably know that you're a type 1 diabetic anyway, but just say, mention it to them and explain, hey, worst case scenario, if anything happens to me, just ring an ambulance. This is how you test my blood glucose and that. Like, it could be mainly if I'm going low or I'm going high, do you know what I mean, what to do. But the best thing is, I always say, if anything happens to me, ring an ambulance as quick as you can. Yeah. Going through, seeing if we have any more questions. No, well, that just about finishes it then, team. Hopefully you found this helpful. Yeah. If you guys do have any questions, feel free to drop me a message, drop me a DM, drop me an inbox. Like, I am obviously not going to judge you guys. How can I judge you guys as well when I've just told you my fucking stories about the past? And if you ever want to chat about anything like this or anything type 1 related, but anything like specific like this, feel free to drop me a message. My inbox is always open, guys. Right, until the next live, have a great day. Peace.